guys, it's Crystal here and welcome back to Politics in Pajamas. Today I want to talk about 3 things that could happen to help Bernie Sanders greatly increase his chances of getting the nomination still. If you're new here, I hope you'll consider subscribing or clicking the like button. They're both totally free for you and they help me out so much. So let's talk about how things are going in the primary. Super Tuesday was a rough night for all of us, whether you're a Sanders supporter or a Warren supporter. If you consider yourself a progressive, Super Tuesday was a very depressing night. I started getting the feeling on Monday that Bernie Sanders was gonna have a rough night and Joe Biden was gonna have a very good night. I had hoped that Bernie Sanders was still gonna win Texas, but alas, he did not quite pull that off. The official delegates are not completely in yet. We're still waiting on some delegates from California, so it might be a little closer than people are thinking right at this exact moment, but needless to say, it was not what we were hoping for. However, that does not mean that we all need to completely give up and despair, because I think there are 3 things that Bernie Sanders could do, or that also could happen, that would help him drastically change the course of the race right now. So the first thing is getting Elizabeth Warren to endorse him. I know this feels right now to a lot of Bernie supporters like a long shot, but it would really legitimize him and it would really send the signal to the people who love her and who have stayed with her this whole time that it is okay to move over to the Bernie Sanders coalition and that she is giving her approval for her supporters to vote for Bernie, despite some of the things that happened during the primary and feeling like it got kind of ugly between them. I don't know if Elizabeth Warren is going to do this. Right now, she just dropped out today and she's saying that she's going to hold off on endorsing anybody. But if she really believes in all of the progressive ideas that she claims to, like student debt forgiveness, Medicare for all, and fighting corruption, she should endorse Bernie Sanders. So time will tell. So the second thing that needs to happen is that Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders are going to debate. And Bernie Sanders needs to have an amazing debate and Joe Biden needs to have a kind of bad debate. I think what happened with Super Tuesday is everyone who didn't like Bernie kind of rushed to decide on a different candidate and they got behind Biden very quickly without remembering all the reasons that Biden hadn't been leading all the way up until that point. I like to say that the people in Iowa got the closest, longest look at Joe Biden and he came in after Pete Buttigieg, Bernie Sanders, and Elizabeth Warren in Iowa. I think there's a reason for that. I've watched all of the debates completely. He has had a hard time articulating complex thoughts. He's been stumbling over his words. He's been saying accidentally racist things a lot. I don't think he's actually racist, but he's having a lot of gaffes. And I could definitely see in a one-on-one debate where there's a lot more pressure on him that it would become a lot more clear why Bernie Sanders would make a better president. So the third thing that needs to happen is that Bernie Sanders needs to have a blowout in Michigan, because Michigan is seen as one of those states where we will be able to tell if these blue collar workers that Joe Biden is kind of depending on to win the nomination, if they come out in strong numbers for Bernie Sanders, that's going to be a huge sign that he might be better for beating Trump. So I don't know what's going to happen. I'm still not giving up the fight. I think the main takeaway is no matter what happens, having a progressive make it this far in the race is good for all of us. He pulls the conversation to the left. He makes people think that a $15 minimum wage is normal, that everybody should have health care. All of the exit polling on Super Tuesday showed that people want Medicare for all. Joe Biden does not support that, but Bernie does, and he is pulling that conversation to the place where we need it to be. So the further we get and the longer we keep going with progressive candidates, the more likely it is that we're gonna get these types of policies like marijuana legalization, student debt forgiveness, medical debt forgiveness, more regulation for the banking industry. These things become more normalized the more Bernie Sanders stays in this race. And I'm hoping he pulls it off, but for all of you out there who maybe are just getting interested in politics or who are feeling kind of heartbroken today, just know that we win as long as we keep fighting. It's when we give up that we lose. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.